The deconstruction of Donald Trump. Listen to the end of all of this. You want to hear all of this game. I'm about to break it down to you. The deconstruction of Donald Trump. How is the Democrats' game to lose, the liberals' game to lose. I'm going to tell you where we are winning, where we're losing, what we need to be doing, what you need to be doing. The first thing you need to be doing is clicking over in the description in this video and going over to the homepage on my channel and join my Clarity group. I'm going to have some of the hottest out there this week on Epstein, on the elections, a whole bunch of things. Plus, I go live tonight. I go live a couple of times a week, usually on Tuesdays, Saturdays, sometimes on Thursdays. But right now, tonight, I will be talking about narrative warfare. What do I mean by that? How he's manipulating things like, oh, let's go after Obama and Kamala Harris and Jack Smith to throw off the Epstein stuff and what the Epstein stuff really means. That's why I'm doing a special report on that on the back end. You will not see some of the stuff that I have because I get flagged if I put it on social media. Real. Invest in it. Now, let's talk about the deconstruction, how it's our game to lose because they're basically putting the playbook in our hands. Now, you listen to everything that I break down to you right now because this will take a moment, but I'm going to break it down. The first thing I want you to understand is that there are three core things that we must know that are going to assure us that we're going to win. By the way, Kamala Harris becoming president, and I'm going to tell you how that's going to work. Just keep listening, okay, towards the end. The first thing I want you to understand is that Donald Trump's history fails him, but it also reveals and exposes him. We know for the last 40 years that any company he starts, any sales idea he starts, any endorsement he starts, fails. The first term was a fail. How do we know? Thousands of lives lost through COVID, not to mention his failed policies. And then Biden had to pick up the whole thing. Him and Kamala had to pick up the whole thing. And then next thing you know, people are like, why is the economy so bad? That's because all of the policies that he has were taking effect from the Trump years, and he had to come from that. He's like, well, it seems like things getting better now with Trump. But that's because they still have the Biden policies. Game on. What I'm trying to get you to understand and you to really grasp into, keep following me. What we're talking about here is that if this man's history is correct, and it has been, for buildings, for guitars, for water, for airplanes, for casinos, they have all failed, including his first term where thousands of people died because of COVID. Here's what I want you to grasp. He's a poor governing person. His power is in promoting. He's great at promoting. I mean, this guy was brilliant. He was serving fries for McDonald's while, as president, they lose their jobs, or while, going into, garbage trucks, while garbage people and the union members are losing their jobs and their bargaining rights to the very president. Okay? He might as well have shown up on BET, just to tell us what he was going to do with black folks. But he sold to the Latino community. He sold to the Palestinian Arab community, to the Asian community, a load of BS, and they bought it, hook, line, and sinker, and now they're in ICE detention camps or in El Salvador or out in other countries like Sudan. They fell for it. They went for it. He is brilliant at promotion. He is poor at governance. That's what we know the history of, number one. Number two, his policies have clearly revealed what he's about. Trump Gaza. Okay? Clearly revealed what he's about. Arresting brown people like crazy and black immigrants whose families and people who did have citizenship did not support Kamala Harris and did not fight against this guy. His ability to go out and convince a group of people and then turn on them has been classic. I'm going to lower prices. Everything's hot right now. Everything. Elizabeth Warren just called him out on it. He got mad, got on his Truth Social and cussed out, Elizabeth Warren. She's a horrible person. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Yeah, she does. And she called it out. So you have that scenario right now that's happening where, one, his history sucks. Two, his policies have turned on everybody who's voted for him. Let's bring it over to three. Epstein. He has just blatantly lied about this and it won't go away. Here's the truth. In the last 28 weeks of Trump, We have seen this man bring up every kind of thing he could to sidetrack what's going on with Epstein, to sidetrack what's going on with the big, beautiful BS bill, to sidetrack what's going on with all his failed policies, to sidetrack something you will never hear anyone else say, and that is that he's 15 and 107 in court records. That's why he went after national injunctions, and that ain't working neither. Because now ACLU's got his number, and they're getting class action suits. And if you have national class action suits, the judges can do national injunctions. Will they fight effectively against the Medicaid, Medicare? Well, they've done so against Planned Parenthood, but they're trying to in other sections, as well as the 23 governors and attorney generals who rock. They rock. They're the real Democrats over the Democratic Congress. But let me bring this back to where we want to focus here, is that with his policies, with his history, he fails. But the third thing you got to know about Trump is that, and this is what I teach in my clarity group on tonight, as a matter of fact, every Tuesday, called Narrative Warfare, how he's getting in your head and how you need to get him out. The richest, wealthiest thing Donald Trump has is not all his money, not all his meme coins and properties and all of his licensing deals. His most powerful thing he has is the free rented space, the free rented space he has in 100+ million Americans' heads. Even the people who didn't vote for him or voted against him. He's got about 150 million people who are thinking that he's winning, who are thinking that he's in control, who are in terror, who are acting on this. And what I want you to understand is that when you look at his history, when you look at, which is number one, when you look at what he's effectively done, turn on his people, which is number two. When you look at the narrative warfare, the lies and the stuff he comes up with to get you to look at the alligator Alcatraz. I might pardon Diddy. I won't pardon Diddy. This putting, whatever he could say about Diddy, whatever thing he can say to get you off centered, so you don't see that he's failing. 15 and 107 facts. But you don't see that he's irrelevant. The minute he becomes irrelevant to at least 30% of you, maybe 50 million of you or more, he knows he's in trouble. Think about what he did with Iran bombing. I might bomb Iran. Oh, I'm going to bomb Iran. I did bomb Iran. What did that do? That covered up the news story that 10 million people across 2,000 events were fighting and protesting on his birthday. And that could have grown and gotten traction, but he cut it off. The man is genius with that end. But as far as governance, he's going to lose. So here's the deconstructed part of that. If his history shows failure because he doesn't know how to govern and doesn't know how to manage, he's not a good manager. When his history shows that he's a liar, that he breaks down and millions of people are betrayed, don't know what happened. They were stupid enough to vote for this man, and now they got what they got. And then history shows that he is good at narrative warfare up until Epstein, which now he can't come back with that Epstein stuff and start attacking people because it's not going to work. You're not going to say, I'm going to release MLK files when MLK's daughter is like, yeah, okay, now release the Epstein files. Everybody sees your plan now. Every time he comes up with something, they think Epstein, they caught. With these three things, deconstructing him, here's how we win. One, keep pushing the narrative of Epstein. We'll never really see what's really in the files. That's the fact. It's already been found out that the FBI redacted. That's why the deputy FBI director trying to get up out of there. That's why so many prosecutors fled the U.S. attorney's offices across the nation. It's been a mass exodus. Okay? Like a great migration from black people from the South. It's been crazy. Well, what we can do is push the narrative of Epstein, but we can't just go there. We got to go on several pronged attacks. We got to go on, hey, remember that big, beautiful bill they said they were going to screw you with? That they get ready to cut all your SNAP benefits, they get ready to cut your Medicaid, Medicare. You probably want to start voting for us because they got Senate elections happening in the South, left and right. You probably want to vote for us. You probably want to get on our team. I'm not saying we'll win the South on the left, but at the very least, the independents should win it away from the MAGA people in the South. Now, there's a lot of stupid people who are called MAGA, so they might let this rock. But if we can continue to push the narrative and stop freaking out over everything Donald Trump does, and that's what I teach you in my clarity group, don't freak out. I'm taking you from chaos to clarity. That's what this is all about. Chaos to clarity. That's why you need to go into my description, go to my homepage on this channel and click and join. Because you need somebody to continually not only keep you calm, but tell you what you need to be doing. One of the things I tell you not to do is spend your money nationally with the Democrats. Downstate, yes, but with the national, no. They're holding their money off, and they've earned 10 times the money. 10 times the money. And they're not helping. They're not helping. You matter. I love you guys. I thank you for following me. But over here on social media, it ain't going to work. Every time I try to start a membership somewhere or on social media or whatever, they end up flagging or censoring me. I need to be in a free community where I can say what the I want. And I got a free community, not a free community, but a paid community that I put together so I can do this 24 hours. This is in the middle of the night I'm doing this. All right? So yeah, I get some money out of it, but so does YouTube just for you watching this. So does CNN, MSNBC. But here's what the CNN and MSNBC don't say. They don't say the score of Trump and he's failing. They don't tell you with assessment what all of this BS means. I have daily assessments every single day in the Clarity Group where I talk very candidly. I talk about 5 different types of civil wars that are out there. Do you know there are 5 different types? Across the Democrats, across the Republicans, across the wealthy. I talk about the 8 different types of investigations that are happening right now, Donald Trump administration. And yes, one of them is the election. Another one's Epstein. The other one is deportation, and they are being secretly financed. They can't bring them up right now. You will see this happen in years, and you'll hear about it. I tell you what the plan is for the next 3.5 years, 40 months. I know many of you want to think, oh, Kamala's going to come back and save us. Get out of that dream world. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to hype you up. Listen, it's only $20 a month or $100 for a year. You can find for 20 months what I got to say. If I don't say something in 30 months, you cancel. It's good. Understand, I'm telling you the real stuff. And what I'm saying to you is giving you a certain type of thinking that calms you down from chaos and goes to clarity, that tells you the simple things you can do so you feel more effective. And the third thing is tell you what not to do, because there is some chill out time, what not to do, and how to break away from toxic, not only on the right, but on the left, because there are people alarming you all day long. I can't do that here. They made it very clear on every social media that every time I talk about the election, every time I talk about Epstein too candidly, every time, and I talk about a secret world with Epstein that's beyond Epstein. Epstein's dead, but there's a whole bunch of people out there right now. Do you know there are thousands of people in this world that involve sex crimes, that involve drugs, that involve laundered money, that are both in the legal gray area and illegal? They exist. And some of which are next door to you, no matter where you are and where you live. I talk about Silicon Valley, Hollywood, Wall Street. I talk about DC, but it's deeper than DC. This stuff is international. Name a major city in the world that doesn't have drugs, that doesn't have money laundering, that doesn't have sex, that doesn't have guns and stuff. It's crazy. What I also talk about in depth is how is Trump getting a bag? How is he grifting? There's a very specific way that's done. How is Elon using it to this day? How is that done? What are they doing? And who's investigating to see what happens and what's the timeline for these guys to get in trouble, or at least the people around them? That's what I'm talking about. The deconstruction of Donald Trump is really a real thing. I kid you not. It is something that is happening this very moment. But it can't happen right now because they just can't unseat him. And people don't want to hear that. I know. Why can't they just unseat him? Because they can't. It's the fucking law. They can't do it. They can't do it. Do you think with all of these people in power, these powerful people that he's up against, they wouldn't be trying that? Shh. Think about it. The Democrats would not even vote in just a show of strength. They couldn't impeach the guy, but they didn't even vote to impeach the guy, including Hakeem Jeffries. We got a problem. That goes back to those 5 different types of civil wars. I'm going to talk about that. Can't talk about it here. They made it very clear I can't. We're in a big one, but we're going to make it through this. And unfortunately, this had to happen. You know why? Because there were people who believed that this couldn't happen. And now that it's happening, they believe. They're in shock. They were stupid. They just let it happen when we fought for it not to. Me working on Kamala's campaign, a whole bunch of other people. Real talk. For those of you who don't know me, hopefully you at least subscribe to my channel. But for those of you who really know me and really feel what I just said in the last 16 minutes, you will get your assets over to that description, over to my homepage, and join my clarity group and hear the real shit tonight. Because I'm talking tonight at 7 p.m. USA Central, Chicago time. I'm Darren Monroe, downtown Chicago. 30 years experience in marketing, branding, and I used to work on Kamala's campaign on the engagement team. I was a volunteer. I didn't know Kamala. I ain't no big connected, whatever. I have, again, worked in the music industry, in the film industry. But other than that, I'm trying to tell you, get with me.